What's up, motherfuckers, and welcome to another episode of the Low Life Motherfucking Chopper Podcast. We got an awesome episode for you guys tonight. We got Parker Nair on the show, and it is a good one. This dude went cross country in the van, brought the bike, all the road stories to follow. Before we get into that, though, we got to kick this thing off the way we always do with some motherfucking shout outs. First up, if you didn't catch it, the Low Life Lowdown, our first in-person chopper show, is going down Saturday, June 10th from 12 to 5 p.m. at the Epping Legion. The address for that, 252 Calif Highway in Epping, New Hampshire. It is a chopper show. There will be food trucks, live music by Michael Carson Sr., raffles, and a whole lot more. $10 gets you in the door, $30 if you want to vend at the show. If you do want to vend, Rhino Resto is the man with the plan, so send him a DM and he will get you all the details that you need. Remember, guys, Saturday, June 10th, this is the first day of Bike Week, and it is the 100th anniversary of Laconia. So if you're coming up for the 100th anniversary, make sure you stop in and see the Lowlifes on your way. Saturday, June 10th, 12 to 5 p.m. at the Epping Legion, the Lowlife Lowdown. Next up, if you didn't catch it, I started a YouTube channel, and it is called Grease's Garage. It is all about making your next build easier than your last one. And if this is your first build, I'm going to take so much of the headache out of that process for you, taking all the bullshit that I've had to go through building bikes and learning the ropes, and I'm going to synthesize that down for you in the simplest possible way, from wiring, carb tuning, welding and fabrication, bike maintenance basics, ride along videos, and more. Go subscribe now on YouTube. Just search for Grease's Garage and you will see me over there. Next up, the homie Loctite's Chop Shop is back in the YouTube game as well. He's got a brand new camera. Give that channel a follow. It is Loctite's Chop Shop for an inside look at that chopper lifestyle. All right, guys, that's going to do it for our intro segment here. So with no further ado, we'll go ahead and get you into this episode with Parker Nair. All right, guys, we are live on the line with Parker Nair, a.k.a. Parker Ryan. Welcome to the show, brother.
Thank you. Very excited to be here. It's been, I don't know, my trip out here went so crazy. And you and me kind of just shot the shit that one day. And I figured I'd probably have some good stories to tell from traveling all the way from Boston, Massachusetts out to Northern California. So
I think that's the perfect place to start. Yeah, so we actually met you at Deadbeat this past year. You get swung by, parked over near the other bikes, and we got to talking. And then after that, we all kept in touch, and you told us you were going on this trip. So before we get into the trip, why don't you tell people where you're from and then get into a little bit of how you planned the trip.
all right. So long story short, I am 23 years old. I'm from Scituate, Massachusetts. I'm a college student at Wentworth Institute of Technology. Been riding for, I don't know, like going on 5 years now. And so this whole trip came about because the way that my school works is they do co-op semesters. So it essentially just forces kids into the real world and work an actual job for a period of time before you graduate college and you've had your thumb up your ass for 4 years.
It's actually a good concept. I didn't even realize it was like that.
Yeah, it's just like when you go to like technical school in high school, and usually those schools have co-op semesters as well, and you go and work for a company and you just turn into a tradesman or such. But so I study construction management, and so I don't know, construction management majors are so little, like it's not really offered at many schools across the country. So Boston's one of the big ones. So
Of course, because Boston has every union known to man.
Yeah, exactly. We're all wicked smart too. So
That's it, dude.
but so yeah, this company, I got in touch with them and just started shooting the shit with them at the career fair. One of the guys was from Worcester, and he's like, dude, you're from Situate. Like, why were you fucking building houses and not lifeguarding at the beach? And I was like, I don't know, just built built a different way, guy. Like,
That's funny.
so yeah, so I got in contact with them, made a good connection off the bat, and they shot me an offer for this internship, helping cover my housing, and helping like with relocation and shit. Wasn't like a huge sum of money, but still enough to like cover half the gas getting out here. Um, so yeah, I had made these plans last April,
Oh, the
and then
internship's out there.
yeah, the internship's out here. So that's pretty much what dragged me cross country.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
cool, dude. I was wondering what you were doing to make that all work, but that makes a ton of sense. What a nice way to set that up.
Oh yeah, because I'm a college student who has way too many projects going on. So like the funds are not there all the time. That's for sure. So so yeah, I had made these plans last April and I knew that it was on my schedule and I was like, all right, got to make this trip happen. And I kind of just figured it out then. And I was like, yeah, like shit'll come into play down the road and I'll figure out what I'm doing exactly. California is obviously like has a super high cost of living out here. So I didn't really know what I was going to do. My only other vehicle is a 2005 Tundra. And that thing's got like some transmission issues and shit like that. So wasn't really feeling comfortable enough to drive that cross country. And so initially I thought I was going to like ship a motorcycle cross country and just daily that.
Sure.
Because I don't know, obviously it's cheap riding a bike everywhere. I wouldn't have to like really worry about storing it anywhere. Like,
No snow, doesn't rain
yeah,
much.
no snow, exactly. But thank God I didn't do that because the first like 3 weeks that I was out here, it was nothing but rain. Like California got more rain in 3 weeks than they probably had in like the last like 3 years.
No
So
shit.
yeah, all the reservoirs filled up. They went from like 40% capacity all the way up to like over capacity. Everything like there was tons of flooding and shit out here, like all up in the Santa Cruz Mountains, tons of like landslides and road closures. Like shit was just getting torn up. Um and it's like such a foreign concept cuz growing up in New England, I'm used to it pissing rain every other day in the winter and I don't know. Cold temperatures don't really bother me too much.
Right. Yeah, you just get used to it.
Yeah, exactly. But so yeah, I had these plans, and then next thing you know, it was I don't know. It was getting sooner and sooner that I had to make this trip, and I was just cruising on Instagram one day, and I saw Jason Robson at the Blood Creek. Uh, he had posted on his story, was like, any homies out there looking for a van? And so me being a dumbass and being like, yeah, I could use that. Like I could use one more thing to dump money into. I hit
Right?
him up and I hit him up and I asked and got some more details. He was like, yeah, like just trying to get what I paid for it. I just took it out to Death Valley and back for this motorcycle trip. So I was like, all right, the thing definitely has balls. It can definitely handle another cross country trip and I can make it work so I can bring my motorcycle out there with me. And the van was cheap enough, and I was like, dude, fuck it, for $2,500, like we'll get it done.
Right. You find a way.
Yeah, exactly. So that was my plan at that point, and I don't know, someone was just telling me to do it. I was like, fuck it, seems like a good deal. So I went with my gut feeling, and I checked it out one day. Me and the old lady cruised up on the wide glide cruised up to New Hampshire, had a terrible ride up there, just sat through nothing but traffic on like Route 9. And picked up the van, threw the bike in the back, brought it home, horrified my family. And then it was just on from there. So I bought the van at like the end of October. And then I was like, all right, got to do a whole bunch of shit to get this thing like legal. I'm going to be crossing through a ton of states. I've never driven this far by myself, or not by myself, but never gone on a trip of this magnitude.
Sure.
So there was lots of shit that the van needed initially. Needed a new windshield. Needed a new windshield. It didn't have heat. There was a whole bunch of like the coolant temp sensor didn't work.
Dude, you were worried about the Tundra.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, well, so like the deal with the Tundra is, I don't know, the torque converter in that thing's just like smoked. And the transmission's just like iffy. And that thing only has like 140,000 miles on it, so it's a baby for like being a first gen Tundra.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I wasn't like confident enough in that thing to take me cross country. Plus, I don't know, with the van, I was like, I can haul the fucking bike out with me too.
Yeah,
So
that is a big plus, being able to stick
even
that in there.
yeah, just having the freedom to I don't know, to have both with me, have my creature comforts and like have my toys out here. I don't know, I just saw it as a great opportunity.
So you did a
So,
Night Glide in the back of the van.
yep. Yep, I crammed that thing in there. But then the other thing was like having like 4,000 miles to cover in like a week and a half time span before I started work. Um, I was also like just worrying about how much money it was going to cost me in gas. Like when I did the math, it was like $1,200 to $1,300 just in gas alone to cover that mileage. Um, and
Wow,
then
that's a
yeah,
lot.
so then on top of that, I'm like, yeah, I really don't want to be doing hotels and like campgrounds and all this shit. I've never been to like middle America, so I didn't really know what the weather was going to be like. Um, so the van was honestly the saving grace of the entire trip because I think we slept in that thing for like probably 4 or 5 nights out of the 8 day trip. Um, no, it
And so
had to have
that's
been
a
more than that.
huge savings there to sleep. At least half your stays you got for free.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's like built out. It's built out in the back, so it has like a full platform for a twin size bed. I built it so it was tall enough too, so I could throw some like huge storage bins in it and just like fill it with all my clothes because I'm coming out here to work for 4 months. So like I need casual clothes. I need shitty jeans to ruin while I'm like working on my stuff. I need nice, decent clothes for like going out and about. And then plus just I don't know all the miscellaneous stuff. Like I had a whole bin full of tools, my whole toolbox. I brought like an extra starter with me, like so much random shit. Um,
Extra starter for the bike or starter for the van?
Extra starter for the van. I don't know why. I was
Oh
like,
man.
yeah, that thing had some weight to it.
Holy cow, that's it. Yeah, I assume that's a big piece. It's funny, dude. It seems like hearing the story from an outside perspective, there was a lot of trust in the van, huh?
Dude, there was a lot of trust in the van because it's an old small block Chevy and those things are fucking beasts. Um, but like, yeah, like I was saying before, like I dumped like $1,500 into it, like getting that thing nice. Um, I definitely have a list somewhere of all the shit I did, but I did like a new headliner in the back of the van, kind of just made it less crusty. I did Jason gave me a whole bunch of like brown shag carpet. There was already brown shag in the front, in the driver's and passenger seats, but he gave me extra. So like I did shag all up on the wall. I did another wall that was just like stained plywood with polyurethane on top. Um, Hooks on the wall for like holding shit up, but I did all new spark plug wires, spark plugs, coolant temp sensor, new thermostat. I rebuilt the entire. I had to take apart the entire dashboard and did the heater core, which like
Yep.
it was my first time doing a lot of this shit.
I was just going to ask you how you had the experience to work on vans like this. Is this something you'd have ever dabbled in?
No, this is my first vehicle pre 2000s. Um, but like the more I got into it, I was like, this shit is so simple. Like everything just makes sense on this. I was like, I love this. Like I don't have to deal with like some crazy ECM that's like throwing all of my sensors off and all this bullshit. Like everything was just so simplistic. Like
Yeah.
um
Oh, I can imagine a modern car has to be a total nightmare to figure out.
Yeah, for sure. And so like I've done plenty of other like mechanical stuff. Like I sent you some pictures. I rebuilt my 2005 Tundra and I put a new frame on that.
Oh,
And then
yes, that's the one of the whole frame is laying in the garage. I was going to ask you what that picture was about.
yeah, so yeah, we're kind of jumping all over the place here.
So why
But
don't we
yeah,
go in order then? We'll take it from your departure day. What was your goal for day one? Like, where were you trying to get by the end of that day?
so point A to point B, day one was get from Situate, Massachusetts down to Powhatan, Virginia. Because I've got some family down there, and so Powhatan is like it's like half an hour west of Richmond. Um, so a pretty solid drive. It was definitely doable that first day. Battled a lot of hills going through Connecticut. That was a shit show. Being loaded down with a passenger, all of our clothes and shit, the motorcycle, all the tools, etc. That was a battle, but made it down there, no problems. Um, Only thing that happened that first day was I think my fog lights like shorted out and killed the switch. Um,
Not so
and
bad. Yeah.
yeah, and shorted out a whole bunch of like wires and stuff. And then the other thing that sucked too was my driver's side door mysteriously just got locked. And like I could not unlock it whatsoever. I like later on I had to take apart the whole door panel just to get it unlocked and figure out what was wrong with it. But so yeah, the first day I lost my driver's side door. So I was climbing from the driver's side all the way like just out the slider all the time, which was a pain
Oh,
in the ass
man.
for sure.
Yeah, dude, that's got to get aggravating when you're making multiple stops a day.
Yeah, exactly. Like just trying to get gas and like just I'm just slowly turning into a hunchback with my back bent over all the time. Um
Day one, too. It's like, what are the odds?
yeah, right. But so that was fine. Drove down there, hung out with some family that night, stayed in an actual bed. That was cool. And then the next day from there, we took off and the next destination was Nashville. Um, which I don't know how many miles that is exactly, but plenty of driving throughout the day. So we left Virginia around like 10 a.m., made it to Nashville. I think it was like 8 hours of driving that day. And so we made it there by like 9 or 10 o'clock at night. I think we went back an hour in time as well. Um, because we crossed the time zone there too.
Oh, yeah,
So,
that's right. Yeah, you're dipping back. Yeah, so it's like 566 miles between them.
oh really? You're quick with it,
Oh,
Jamie.
yeah. Well, this is why I like to break this stuff down step by step because it lets me. You sent a picture of the map, like with the route that you had taken, but it's cool
Uh-huh.
to be able to see each leg and how far you were traveling on each one.
Yeah, I just drew out that map like an hour before this started because like I've been meaning to do it myself and I've just been lazy, but it is really cool looking at it. After all.
Yeah, you're gonna have to frame that, dude. Put that up somewhere.
Yeah. Put it on the fridge. Um, but yeah, so then we got to Nashville that night, just went out, hit all the bars, just fucking drank like 3 Coors Light at each place and just bounced on over to the next spot and just heard some local country legend just strumming it up. That was fun and shit. And then the next day took off and I didn't really know where we were going from there. But I was like, let's just I don't know, try and make it into like Arkansas or some shit like that. Drive as far as we can until we're tired. Because there was like plenty of states that I kind of just wanted to get through.
Right.
Because I don't know, like starting a new job and like moving to a new area, I definitely had some like anxiety and shit about like just getting settled in and like making sure that like I don't know, I was gonna be all set for work. I hate like coming off as like a shitty employee or something like that. Like I like being on time. I like having my shit figured out. So
Can I ask, were
like
you like when you're departing from Nashville, right? And you're not exactly sure where you're looking to go. are you just sticking to like the most major highway and just figuring like, okay, I'll just travel in this direction, like kind of towards Fort Worth at that point?
Like,
How did you decide where to actually go if you don't know where you're trying to end up?
well, so at that point, so like the West was kind of having a whole bunch of like crazy weather going on because there was all these rainstorms in California, and the Gulf or the jet stream was taking all of this like precipitation from the West Coast, bringing it over into like Colorado and Utah and Missouri and all these like Midwestern states, and just like everyone was getting hammered with rain. So I was just trying to avoid that at all costs because I don't know, driving an old van that like barely has seatbelts and it's got good brakes, but I was like, I want to keep my driving like to a minimum at night. I just want to fucking haul ass during the day and get there. But so I knew that I kind of want to go south. So Texas was another destination as well. Whether that was going to be like Austin or Dallas, I was like, Texas is a cool state. I just want to go check it out and explore. Um, so I probably just threw in like Dallas, Texas on the maps, and then we would just drive until my eyes were like crusting over.
Yeah, it seems like there'd be, and that's kind of a good route. Like you're from Tennessee, you're dropping down into Texas a little bit, even though you're coming back up later into Cali.
Yeah. Yeah, another thing is like I initially did want to go see my sister in Missouri. Because she's like has recently moved out there in the last like 2-3 years. So I want to stop by and just check out like St. Louis, even though I heard it's not the nicest city. But
What? Nelly Strip's awesome.
Yeah, Nelly says it's great.
um, but yeah,
If only we could play a song at the end of this.
Oh,
Yeah,
dude,
I know.
100%. We'd be queuing up freaking. You can find me in St. Louis.
You know, it's like bad because I'm so young. I don't even know that song.
Yeah, it's funny. There is
Jesus.
like, dude, he said he's 23. There's almost a 10-year age
Oh
gap.
my God, you were born in 2000?
Yeah. Hey, whoa. Not born in 2000. I'm a 99er. I'm a 90s baby. I'm going to hold that
my
till the day I
God.
die.
By the skin of his teeth. Yeah. December 31st. 19.
Yeah, I'm a 90s baby as of like 2 months.
Jesus
So listen, you
Christ,
have to
dude.
go by Nelly Country Grammar if you're going to keep saying you're 90s baby. It's a requirement.
Dude, I worked with this guy. I know it's an outsider, man. I worked with this kid that wasn't alive for 9/11.
Damn, that's
I
wild.
was like, what the fuck, dude?
Yeah, like what? You guys were in like middle school? Like,
I was in high school.
holy shit.
I was in middle school, but there's a gap even between me and Loctite here of a couple of years.
I walked, so real quick, I was stoned off my ass and walked into class, and like they were watching it on a TV in the classroom. And I was like, yo, it's fucking movie day? And people were so pissed. Like, you're a piece of shit. This is America. And I'm like, what?
What happened? Yeah.
So, yeah, they're like, the fucking people flew planes in the World Trade Center. I'm like, sick. I'm out of here. And just left school.
Gone.
Yeah, now they just shoot up schools these days.
Yeah,
That's
fuck.
that's all that we see going on.
Exactly. So I'm looking actually, Nashville and St. Louis aren't far apart from each other.
Yeah, so they aren't far, but it was like, I don't know, I definitely had some aspirations to go through Utah and Colorado because I've got some buddies out there and I want to stop and see them. But at the same time, like they were getting like a foot of snow every other day. And I was like, all right, this is a 2-wheel drive van. I've got to make the call here and like play it safe before I end up in a ditch on the side of the road with no airbag going off.
Yeah, that's no good.
Um,
So did
So,
you
yeah.
end up making it out to see, who'd you say it was, your sister in Missouri?
yeah, it was my sister. No, I didn't bother like wasting time because I'm probably gonna drive back at the end of this in May. So I'll just see her then. Check out
Gotcha.
St. Louis when the weather's a bit nicer. So yeah, from Nashville, then we just like hauled ass, tried getting towards Texas, got caught in like torrential downpours in Arkansas because there was a whole bunch of nasty weather coming up from like the Gulf of Mexico and like Louisiana and shit. So like drove to the point where like we couldn't even see, and then spent the night at a Love's gas station. Took advantage of that nice truck stop shower.
There you go.
Yeah, which wasn't bad. And then the next day, like, kept on trucking down to Dallas, hung out there for like an hour or two, and we were like, all right, this city kind of sucks. Um,
Shout out to
yeah.
Dallas.
Yeah, sorry to all people from Dallas, but I don't know. I just like didn't find anything that was like that cool. And people were like, yeah, you should be careful on the streets out here. And I was like, all right, let's get to West Texas.
Yeah, I'm
Let's
just
just
get
keep
out of
on
here.
trucking. So then then I drove more than I ever had in a single day and did like another like 5 or 6 hours and drove until like 3:30 in the morning. Which like looking back on it, I'm not sure if that was like my best call because I don't know, driving in the middle of the night in a very like unfamiliar place, like where there was zero cell phone service in West Texas, and I was just trying to cover some ground. But so we drove until like 3:30 or 4 in the morning. I was just like blasting Dave Dudley while my like girlfriend was asleep in the passenger seat, and I'm just like trying to stay awake. And then we pulled into some random hotel parking lot, and then that was when like the first real issue happened. I had fixed my fog lights after they blew out in Virginia, and then I left the switch on in Texas when I got to that hotel that night. So then I woke up to a nice dead battery in the van.
Oh,
Um,
no.
so that sucked. And I had like a tiny little jump pack on me, but that didn't really work out and it wouldn't jump the battery. I even tried doing the old Milwaukee battery and jumped that to my starter and that still wouldn't go. Um, so I walked like a couple miles down the street to an O'Reilly's or something, just picked up a new battery. I was like, fuck it, whatever. $150 later.
I was gonna say, dude,
Um,
batteries these days are not what they used to cost.
yeah. And I was like, I don't know, the battery that was dead was like pretty new too. So I was like, I'm not even gonna go get the core. I was like, fuck it. Like I'll just hold on to it and charge it up somewhere. And have a backup, I guess.
Not a bad
And then
idea. Where were you at this point? Where did you end up pulling off?
oh yeah, so this was like near Abilene, Texas.
Gotcha.
Yeah, like
I don't
very
know where that
like
is, but yeah.
super close to the New Mexico border.
Got
Um
it.
or no, I think it was really Seminole, Texas. Pulled off there, just found some random hotel, somewhere to crash for the night in the van. I was like, it is what it is at this point. Like I'm not driving for enjoyment. I'm driving to get cross country. So yeah, I crashed there for the night, fixed the van in the morning, kept on trucking. And then we made it into New Mexico, which I don't know, just from like honestly just from this podcast in particular, like all the terrible stories I've heard of New Mexico, Shovel Sam losing his bike. And then Connor was telling that story about like someone broke into their truck and stole all their rain gear and all that bullshit.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah, because I was listening to the episode with Connor because you guys did another episode with Connor like not too long ago, right?
Yeah, just before Christmas we did an episode with him.
Yeah, so I started listening to that one when I was leaving Texas on that like overnight like bender of just driving. So I was like, awesome, going to New Mexico next.
Yeah, I can't
So
wait to see it.
yeah, so I was definitely like sketched out about being in New Mexico. I just never been there and I don't know. Definitely just like pose some threats and shit. So I was a little bit hazy and like just nervous going in there, but I was like, I don't know, it is what it is, just another fucking state. And then this is when the real shit show started. So we had left Texas that morning in the middle of New Mexico. We were like still on like the eastern part of the state, like probably only like an hour north from the Mexico border. And driving through the desert, there is nothing but cattle and oil rigs. And I was like, this is so cool. Like, there's fucking nothing out here. Like, this is just crazy. I've never seen anything like this in my days. And we're humming along doing like 65, and a semi truck passes by us, like going the opposite way down the road, and all of just like the turbulent fucking wind off of that truck combined with like 60-mile-an-hour winds in the desert already was enough force to yank up my hood, like bypassed my fucking hood latch. Like it just totally slipped and yanked up the whole hood and shattered my entire windshield.
Oh my God, in New Mexico too, of all places.
Yep, in New Mexico. So
I
yeah,
remember getting this call. Somebody, either you messaged us or somebody actually called me.
it was Ray.
Ray, that's right. Yeah, we were at Casey's Rib Shack, and he called. I'm like, huh, I wonder what this is about. And yeah, so we started throwing up posts trying to get you in touch. So how did I remember you mentioning that you had got lined up with somebody to get it resolved, but what actually did you do in the moment, and how did it play out?
Yeah, so in the moment, I don't know why. I feel like a pussy, like reaching out to you guys and like reaching out to Ray and being like, yo, like just get a PSA out there, like, because I just didn't know what I like had forthcoming, like down the road, like in New Mexico. Like I was like, this is just fucked. Like I could barely see out of the windshield. And so from right then when it happened, I told my girl, I was like, just get on the phone and like, can you try and like handle this shit with my Geico, like, and try and find an auto glass dealer that can make this happen for me. Because the other bitch of it was that this happened on New Year's Eve. And I was like,
Oh,
I think that was on like a Saturday too, or maybe a Friday. And I was like, dude, like, who the fuck wants to install a windshield on New Year's Eve? And like, by the time I can get to any like decent place, it'll be like 6 or 7 o'clock at night. Um,
right.
so nothing really like came of it that day. Geico like gave me a quote. They were like, yeah, here's your policy number. Like, just give this to any glass shop and we'll take care of you. And I was like, okay, awesome. So that night I ended up like hunkering down at it was like a pretty well known like camper spot. Like on this like cool ass Air Force base in New Mexico, hung out there for a day. Had some other bullshit happen with the van. Like, dude, it seemed like someone siphoned the gas out of my tank or it all just evaporated because I went from like half a tank down to like nothing, like super quick. So then I lost a day there and then like filled up on gas and was like, all right, guess we're good to go. And then lined up something at a shop in Tucson, Arizona. So then with the driving with a broken windshield still, I drove from Alamo Gordo, New Mexico, all the way to Tucson, which is probably, I don't know, like 500 miles or something like that.
Yep.
And then made it to Tucson and got in the shop, and they took great care of me. Um, these guys were great. I just dropped off the van at like 8 a.m., hung out in Tucson, like just like got breakfast. I don't know, went to a thrift store, like just killed time and shit.
Sure.
Yeah, and that was such a relief to have that all set. Like I was super sketched out about like cops like trying to pull me over, being like, "Yeah, this isn't legal to drive. I'm gonna impound this shit." Like,
Right.
um,
Were you
so
just throwing on some sunglasses and just like pretending you were on a bike at that point?
yeah, well, so like you seen the picture I sent you of the windshield? Like, so it didn't break and like shatter, like it like there was still glass there.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
so yeah, it was super sketchy, but like I just threw my sunglasses on. I was like, all right, if this thing caves in and I get a bunch of shards in my face, I'm like, whatever, better me than my girlfriend, I guess. So she was kind of hanging out in the back part of the time. Um, but yeah, that was like all I could really do. It was solid, but then again, there would be some like strong gusts of wind, and you would like hear the windshield like crumble in a little bit. And
Oh,
I was like,
Jesus.
all right, yeah, this isn't fun. But so it was such a relief to get that fixed and over with, and I don't know, just another day, just ready to put down some more miles. Um,
Absolutely. Also, for the record, definitely don't ever hesitate to reach out with stuff like that. It's kind of what we want people to do when it comes to the show, is like get in touch with whoever's in the area and, put out that alert, because dude, it happens to fucking everybody if you do trips like this,
Yeah, definitely. But no, seriously, like I appreciate you guys, and I appreciate Chicken Rick, and I think it was Chop Cult that like reposted my story too. But yeah, no, like you guys have no clue how much it means, like having known you guys only since like I first met you at the La Spada show last April, and then like finally got to like hang out and like kick it with you guys at Deadbeat. Um, and like I've only met you guys like twice, so it's like it really goes a long way for you guys to like extend the reach and be like anybody like that can help this fucking kid. Like I just didn't even know what to do at that point. I was like, this is sketchy. I was like, if I'm gonna get jumped and like pulling over, some crazy shit's gonna happen in New Mexico. Like I could really use a hand. So I
for
figured
sure.
I figured you guys and like Chicken Rick would definitely be able to I don't know, to find somebody that would help. And I think there was only one person that reached out.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, did anybody from the chop community actually get in touch with you?
There was only one guy, and I can't even remember his Instagram. I still follow him.
It's because nobody who has choppers feels safe in New Mexico. So
Yeah,
they just
pretty
move.
much.
And they're like, no, I heard about Shovel Sam. I'm not stopping here, taking this chopper to Texas.
Let me find this guy. I definitely have him in my DM still.
Yeah, because we appreciate that guy actually reaching out. Like that's the boots on the ground person to actually make the call and say, like, yeah, I listened to the show, and also I'm willing to help this person you guys are talking about. So it would definitely be good to get that guy some recognition too. And if you don't find it now, or if it's takes longer to pull it up, let me know, and I'll throw it in the show notes just so that he knows that we appreciate him.
Dude, honestly, I think he might have like deactivated his Instagram. Because
Somebody
I have like,
stole it in New Mexico. They just took his whole Instagram off him.
yeah, no, he like totally like deleted his Instagram or something. Because I'm looking at the DMs right here. He said, "We have a cheap glass guy at my work in Los Lunas." Um, but it really wasn't like super close to me. But shout out to him anyways. I can't remember his Instagram. It was like I think it was like zombie cycles or like something crazy. But yeah,
Well,
shout out to that
if you come
individual.
across it, let me know, and we'll shoot him a message too, and just say, hey, thanks for getting in touch with him. But so yeah, so you got it fixed, and then where to from there? Now you're one state away from Cali.
So then I was in Tucson at that point, and I think from there, yeah, I think we went from Tucson and then just hauled ass all the way to San Diego. Because I had been like chatting it up with Connor a little bit, and I was like, dude, like I'll totally like would love to stop by and like just hang out and like check out the shop and like kick it for a night. So I reached out to Connor, and then we went from Tucson, Arizona that morning all the way to San Diego and got there at like 10 o'clock at night. Just grabbed some Mexican food and some burrito tacos and shit, and then hung out with Connor in his shop. Got to check out the was it the 52 International pickup? That thing was cool. Got to see all of Connor's madness going on in his little warehouse.
It's
All of
got to
his
be a
piles
cool
of
little
parts.
shop, man, with some very, very old stuff in it.
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure. It was like I don't know. He just kept pointing out bike after bike, and I was like, dude, this is just fucking crazy. And then like all the piles of parts he has like stacked on top of other piles. He's like, oh yeah, here's some old knucklehead parts. Oh, but under that is all this Indian bullshit. Like he knows where everything is. Um, but yeah, it was a total mess. But no,
That's
like shout out to Connor. Yeah, had a good time hanging out with him. And I did want to go ride with him like the next day, and I was gonna pull the Y glide out of the back of the van, but at that point, like my girlfriend was already ready to kill me. Yeah, ex-girlfriend now. But
Oh no, the trip do it in?
yeah, we won't go into like too much detail about that, but
Fuck,
no,
dude.
no,
Sorry to hear that.
she's a good girl. She'll, yeah, I don't know if she's gonna be listening to this or not, but possibly. Um,
That's
probably,
funny.
yeah, but yeah. So then from there, um, yeah, had a good time with Connor that night, and then I have another buddy who's from my hometown who lives in Santa Monica, California. So I went up there, hung out with him, but dude, like I said, like the first 3 weeks that I was in California, it did nothing but rain. So it was like there's only so much shit that we could really do. So we just like kind of hung out, went to the Santa Monica Pier, and did some shit there. Met up and like got what's it called? In-N-Out Burger that night, which is a delicacy out
Oh,
here.
so is it as good as people say, dude? I've still never had it.
Dude, it's so good. I mean, like for me, like I'm like a value type of person. Like I just like paying for what I'm getting and like being satisfied at the end of the meal. And I'm like, dude, you can't beat this. Like it's like $6 for like a double like animal style like and fries. And I'm like, dude, this is just sick. Um
Yeah, that is
like
I'm just looking at this thing right now of like you went San Diego to Santa Monica. It's wild, dude. On the map, that looks like a tiny little jump, but it's like 3 hours, dude. That's like me driving to Connecticut. This tiny little blip on the side of California between those two places. That's like two states over on the East Coast.
dude, it's like amazing. Like you can go so little here. And it's like just the other day, I was like going out last week and it was I think a 10-mile drive and it took me an hour.
Yeah, right. Just think how jammed up things can be.
Yeah, dude, California's just fucking whack because so they have like I don't know, so I'm sure someone will like steer me straight in the future, like DM me all pissed off, like, no, California's awesome, shut the fuck up. Um, but like so they have like the HOV lane, but then they also have like an HOV lane for like fuel efficient cars and like cars that are like hybrids and all this shit. And I still don't understand it clearly, but so yeah, dude, the HOV lane will be wide open and everyone's just flying down it like or if you just own a fucking Tesla and can afford that, you can just fly down and enjoy no traffic, but besides that like you're just sitting
I
in
didn't even
stop and
realize
go traffic.
they
Say
did
that
that.
again?
But I didn't even realize they did that. That's probably because they're just trying to get everybody to buy electric cars over there.
Yeah, exactly. So it's either like I don't know. You pay for what you get out here. If you're rich, you can drive freely. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah, that's fucking wild, dude. I didn't. That's the first time I've ever heard that there was such a thing as a electric vehicle HOV lane.
Yeah.
You can take
Yeah,
care of
like all the sticker
driveway.
yeah, like all the cars out here have like these stickers on their back left and back right bumpers, and it's like this is a fuel efficient vehicle.
Oh my
Some
god, dude.
yeah.
That's
Um
yeah.
And then
You get a
here
couple
you
of
come with the 350.
yeah, exactly, dude. Like humming along. Like plus the other thing, like my EGR valve was bad in my van for so long, which is the I don't know, exhaust gas recirculation. So the thing just stinks extra. I'm like, fucking eat this smog, bitches.
That's it. Loctite, if you have a 350 out there, you're actually only allowed to drive in the right lane.
That's gangster.
Can't even take it out of the left. Yeah.
I would just drive in the left lane no matter what.
But dude, what's wild is like all the coolest bikes have modified exhausts. A lot of people out there like choppers. That's got to be against the code out there, right?
Are you asking me or Loctite?
You, because you're out there.
Well, so like, I don't know. I've been like, I feel like I've had like a golden ticket almost because me having Massachusetts plates, like nobody knows what the deal is in Massachusetts.
Oh,
So
true.
like, I don't know. I haven't gone pulled over at this point. And I haven't really had to deal with the cops all but once. So like nobody's really like giving me too much shit. Like I know I definitely drive a gas hog, but like nobody's really been on my ass about it. Like I've seen other videos too, like on Instagram and stuff of like people getting pulled over, like, oh, you have a modified exhaust, this thing's way too loud, like
Right.
you're driving in track mode, like you gotta have this uninstalled on your car. Like I haven't dealt with any crazy like California Highway Department bullshit like that yet. Um and I
Got it.
I can't really speak on bikes either because I'm titled and registered in Massachusetts.
That's a good point. I guess if you have out of state plates, it's like they're not really concerned with you.
Yeah. And so one other crazy thing that happened on my road trip, I had front and back plates when I left Massachusetts because that's required in Mass. But so when I was on that stretch between Tucson and like heading to San Diego, I got to a gas stop or a truck stop, and I looked at the back of my rig and I was like, dude, where's my license plate? It was the
Oh,
plate with
shit.
my registration sticker too. So I'm like, dude, what the fuck? And I looked down and the license plate had just worked itself back and forth enough to the point where it just sheared off on the highway, I think. Or somebody stole it.
Holy fuck.
So like yeah, like if you look at the back of my van right now, to this day, like where the two top bolts of the license plate go in, there's metal all around those bolt holes, but there's no license plate there. Like part of the license plate actually ripped off and is still attached to my van.
You
So,
keep it there so you can tell the cops that?
dude, 100%. I was just about to say that. It's like a little memento. Like clearly, like I'm not a shithead. Like my
Yeah, I
plate
swear to
used to
God, I
be
have one.
there. Yeah. Um, but yeah, so like yeah, the rear license plate light ripped off as well. So like I left that thing dangling like forever. So if the cops ever pulled me over and gave me shit, like so then at that point I took my plate from my front bumper and I just taped it to the inside window of the van. With also a receipt from the Mass RMV, um, like the receipt from me reapplying for a new replacement license plate and registration sticker.
No
So
shit.
like, and it says please allow up to I don't know, like 12 to 16 weeks for this to come
Wow.
in. So I have that taped on the inside of the back windshield as like proof, like, oh, ha ha ha, you cops can't fucking touch me. I got my shit covered. Like,
Right.
um,
That's a smart move, covering all the bases, dude.
yeah, and I mean I haven't been pulled over yet. Like it's a fucking 1994 Chevy G20 van that everybody out here loves calling a rape van. Besides besides Shovel Sam, he loves the van.
That's
Um, so yeah, so I haven't gone pulled over yet, so I'm all set. But yeah, now I don't know, kind of got some more meat and potatoes to get into here. Um, so then I finished my trip and I drove like I don't know another 6 hours from like Santa Monica all the way up to San Jose. And then when I got here, I had an Airbnb booked that was supposed to be my living situation for 4 months while I worked this internship job. And so I arrived at this Airbnb. It was like right off the freeway, tons of like, I don't know, crazy graffiti and shit everywhere, tons of homeless camps everywhere, fires,
Fuck.
fires burning under a bridge on the side of the freeway. And I'm like, dude, what the fuck did I get myself into? Um, so yeah, then I like got there, met with a host of the Airbnb who like was fully Chinese and like didn't really speak any English. And I was like, all right, this is great for communicating.
yikes, dude. This is
And
tough.
then yeah, and then they walked us into the back of this Airbnb. They're like, oh, this is where you're gonna stay. And so these people, they had like a full 1 story house that they lived in, and they rented out a couple rooms there. But then in the backyard of this place, they had like 4 or 5 10 by 10 sheds built that were fully furnished and like I don't know, like fully trimmed out, like nice, I don't know, laminate hardwood floors. It had a full size bed. It had a desk, and then it like kind of had a closet in it, and like a locking door and all this shit. And I was like, dude, like, am I supposed to live in this for 4 months? I'm like, this is just like insane. Um, and like it had two bathrooms that were like newly renovated. Like, can't really complain about that. It had a washer and dryer, but it said like on the washer and dryer, it was like, please do not use this past like 6 p.m. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, if I work all day, when am I supposed to do laundry? Um, and then like I quickly figured out that I was going to be sharing all of this with like 6 or 7 other people. And I was like, dude, this is so fucked up. Um, and then the cherry on top was the host, his son, the only one that spoke English, he came up to me that night and was like, "Oh yeah, who's this girl you have with you? Like she can't stay here unless you guys give us more money." And I was like, "Dude, what? It says on the listing, one guest allowed." I'm like, "This is bullshit, dude." So I started going off on him like,
Was this set up through your new job, or did you set this up?
no, this was something I set up. Like my job gives me like a housing allowance, and they were like, "Yeah, like here's $1,000 a month, like figure it out," like pretty much. And so I booked it myself thinking it was going to be okay, but I was like, this is like the worst case scenario. Um, so yeah, like I don't know, me and the ex, like we figured it out, and it was like she was supposed to stay with me for like 2 or 3 weeks out there. But that quickly changed, and I was like, all right, they want more money. Fuck these guys. I was like, I got to figure out if I can get my money back from Airbnb and pocket that shit, and then figure out a living situation from there. And then she booked a flight. She booked a flight like 2 days later. I was like, all right, like I'll drop you off at 5 a.m. before my first day of work. And so then she flew home. I was able to stay with like a super distant like family friend at their parents' house for like a night or two. And then yeah, dropped my girlfriend off and then just started work. And I was like, all right, well, guess this is the start of my van life saga.
Fuck, dude, this one got off to a rocky start once you got out there, huh?
Yeah, pretty much. So at that point I had like been talking to like Shovel Sam a little bit. Connor gave me his number and we had like texted a couple times, but I only met him that one other time at Deadbeat. So yeah, we were still like strangers and shit. And so I was like, whatever, like just gonna take this one day at a time. So I went to work that day, left at like, I don't know, 4 or 5 o'clock, and I was like, well, let's figure out this shit show now. So I found a gym that was close by. My work also pays for like a gym membership allowance. So I was like, I'll just get a gym membership. I can at least like go to work every single day, go to the gym afterwards, and then take a shower, and then I guess crash in the van or something. Um,
This is crazy to have to deal with, like, at the same time of like moving to the other side of the country, starting a new job, and then like find out you're homeless off rip.
yeah, pretty much. And like, I don't know, like looking back on it, like, yeah, like it 100% was my choice to leave that Airbnb and like force myself into homelessness. But at the same time, I was like, I don't even feel fucking comfortable like leaving my van parked here overnight. Like when I was loading shit in and out of the van, like there was tons of homies like rolling by on their bicycles and doing a quick 180 when they saw me standing at the back of my van. Like these motherfuckers will rob you blind at any chance that they got. Like, dude, they had like a 90s like Trailblazer and like probably 20 tarps and like 30 bicycles, like, and just made a fucking shanty village. They also had like some random dump trailer on the street too, and it was just a total shanty village. Um, like some shit out of a movie, like some shit you see like on Mass Ave in Boston. But so yeah,
You're trying to be staying right next to.
yeah, exactly. Like plus my Harley was in the back, and I'm like, dude, like I don't know. They could either steal just my bike, I guess, or they could steal my whole van and like hotwire it. and then I'm like super fucked. Uh, plus, like, I don't know, I had all my paperwork on me, like in the van. Like I had the registration, the title for my bike and my motorcycle. So if someone stole it, like that shit's really gone.
Right.
Write themselves a new bill of sale and like be on their way. Um, but so yeah, it's been a crazy like first like month living out here. It's been like a month and a half at this point. Or like a month, yeah, like a month and a week. Um, so yeah, I figured out my living situation. I was like, there's a nice 24-hour fitness that I can go and stay and live at pretty much. Work out there. Work out there after work, take a shower. There's like a nice condo center around me. So like there's Walmart, plenty of like stores, restaurants I can go and eat at. Um, but I was mostly living off of just like Swiss cheese and like salami sandwiches in the van for like a solid like probably 3 weeks.
Dude, that is fucking wild.
Yeah. It was definitely interesting. And then my work was like, dude, they were kind of giving me like the runaround on like, I don't know, giving me like the housing allowance and like even like my first paycheck. Like there was a whole bunch of bullshit that like kind of got wrapped into it too. But yeah, I mean, I made it work for the first month, and then I think like 3 weeks ago now, I was drinking downtown in the town I currently live in, and started shooting the shit with this Irish guy. Because like being from Boston, I'm used to working around Irish people, hearing Irish accents and shit. So I started shooting the shit with him. Wicked nice lad, and he was like, "Oh, I'm actually trying to move out of this place in like the next couple weeks. Like, would you be interested in filling my spot?" And I was like, "Sure, give me the details." Unbelievable rent. I'm like 5 minutes from like a downtown area, like super nice neighborhood. The van gets parked on the street, and my motorcycle is like in the backyard on like a brick patio, and it's like super chill. Like landlords are great here. I got washer dryer included, all the utilities for like 11.50 a month. Um,
There you go, dude. That's cheaper than what you'd pay out here, probably.
yeah, for real. Because I mean, because I'm a student in Boston too, and I have been living like in and out of the city. But yeah, tons of my friends pay like 1,200, 1,300 plus for like a decent apartment that they're sharing with mad people.
Right.
So yeah, I've been in this spot for a couple weeks now, or like 2 weeks, and yeah, everything's been going good so far. The one thing is I do have to like roll the motorcycle like down a whole block. Like I'll wheel it down on the sidewalk like at like 6 a.m. before starting up because the first day I took it out, I woke up my entire house. Um, just from the exhaust, because I mean it's a cammed Evo with a thunder header on it. Like the thing's loud, so
Oh yeah, dude. People must love it.
yeah. So yeah, I got bitched out by my landlord that first day after I did that. But it was fine. But yeah, I've been like dailying the bike to work, and the other good thing is my job site is 1.1 miles from my new apartment. So
Damn.
Oh damn, dude.
yeah, I'm living on easy street at this point. I like suffered through a month in the van, but now I've kind of got it made. So it's a crazy turnaround.
That's super cool, dude. So you're how far into the internship right now? How many months?
Um, I started my first day on books was January 9th. So like a month and 10 days.
Got it. And you're
Um,
there for what? You said 4 months?
yeah, I'm here until May, like the start of May. I'm gonna go drive home, and then I got summer classes starting up in like early May.
Damn, dude, that's such a cool trip. So
Yeah.
good 8 days out there, and now you're getting used to the swing of things of just being a resident, basically.
Yeah, pretty much.
How's the
Yeah, it's
riding
been
out there?
the riding has been good. The one thing I will say, like the roads definitely are not as smooth up here as I expected them to be. Um, I haven't, like, besides commuting to work, I really haven't taken the bike like on that many like trips and shit, and done that much stuff because I work until like, I don't know, 4:30 or like 5 every single day. Then I've got like an hour of sunlight left, and like not being from here and not knowing all the roads, like I don't always want to go ride after work, like when I'm already like tired as fuck
Right.
anyways.
Sure.
And then like every Saturday for the last couple weeks too, it's been raining every morning. So I don't know. I'm definitely cautious of like slick roads. Like I put my bike down on the way up to Deadbeat, on a road that was like just barely wet from the night before in Maine.
Oh, no
Um,
shit. The same bike or different bike?
yeah, the same bike. I laid that thing down like super softly, like going like 10 or 15 miles an hour. Like front wheel just like dipped out from underneath me, taking a right hand turn, trying to get to a gas station. Um, and everything was fine, like just a scratch on my elbow, and I picked the thing up and started it. Everything was fine, couple scratches, but nothing
Okay.
wrong with it.
Yeah. And did we touch on what year this bike is? I know you said it was an Evo Wide Glide.
Yeah, so I believe it's like a 1998 Evo, an 80-inch, and the whole thing's been like stripped down. The heads have been chromed. All the cases have been chromed. Like it's a sharp looking bike. And so yeah, wait, were we even on air when we were talking about
We weren't. No, we hadn't kicked the mics on yet, so we didn't even tell the story of how you came to own it.
yeah, um so I was on Craigslist one day. I had sold my old Kawasaki Vulcan like last April. And then I started working on my XS 650 build. And then so I had no bike all summer. Dude, I missed so many events. I really wanted the XS to go to Worcester Bike Week and go check out the Easy Co show.
Mhm.
Um, and so I had no bike all summer. I was miserable. And then I saw this ad on Craigslist. It was just listed as custom Harley Davidson. Um, and it said it was listed in Boston. I was like super sketched out because it's Craigslist to begin with. And I was like, man, the pictures of this bike don't even look anything like Boston. I was like, there's no way that this is like in downtown, like where it's like listed at. I'm like, this just seems too good to be true. It was listed for like $4,500, and I was like, fuck it. Like, I got a good feeling about this. Like, let me hit up the number, start talking with them. Um, and it was a foreign phone number. So that was like red flag number two. I was like, what the fuck is this? Like, the person's texting me back, like they're a little bit more like eccentric than like a normal person would have been. I was like, dude, this is just fucking weird. Like
That's number
just the
three. Yep.
yeah, just the stuff that they're saying to me. But I was like, yeah, we're gonna keep running with this. Like went to the bank, like took out like $4,500 cash, and I was getting ready to roll into Boston that morning. I took off work, called in sick, and yeah,
Love it.
on my way up to Boston, I called a person, and I'm like greeted by this like super friendly like Danish or like Norwegian voice. They're like, "Hello," and I was like, "Yo, what?" So I started shooting the shit with them, and they explained a little bit further. They're like, "Yeah, it's just me and my wife. Like we've been driving this bike like." Just did a whole bunch of miles on it. Like we just came down from Maine yesterday, and I was like, dude, what the fuck? So then I met them at this parking garage in downtown Boston. Like, dude, I was carrying like an 8-inch Bowie knife on me. Like, I thought I was gonna get jumped.
Yeah, this is the weirdest way for somebody to arrange a meeting where they're like, yeah, here's what we'll do.
Yeah, they were like, and it was like a parking garage in downtown Boston. I was like, this is just fucking red flag number four. So I show up and I find the bike in the parking garage, went over, checked it out. I was like, all right, this is definitely it. Like I'm excited. Like being my first Harley Davidson, I didn't really want to just grab a fucking Sportster 1200 and chop it up eventually. I was like, I kind of want something with some balls. Like, let me find a Dyna. Um, So yeah, I shot the shit with him in the parking garage, and then I was ready to like turn over the cash and like just be on my way. And the husband, he goes, "Oh yeah, it's a little bit dark in here. Do you want to go to a local cafe and grab a coffee?" And I was like, "Dude, fuck it. I'm sure I'm getting the full experience here." So then I
That's
hung out with
awesome.
dude, so I hung out with these people from Denmark for like the next like half an hour, just like telling stories about riding and stuff. Um, and so they gave me the long story short on it, and they were like, "Yeah, we've owned it since 2013. We bought it in Northern California, went to Sturgis 2018. We've like kept it stored in the States for the last like 10 years or something." Um, and so just recently they had picked it up in Wisconsin at Harley and then drove it up into Canada over the Great Lakes and then down into New England and then sold it to me in Boston that morning. And then they got on a flight that night and went back to Denmark.
Oh my God, I would have been like $3,000 max.
That thing was so stolen, dude.
Dude, that's wild though that they just store it and they don't even live here. They just like keep it in country.
Yeah, dude, they just got the bread. I mean, I guess doing that was cheaper than importing a Harley into Denmark. They're telling me how crazy that is of a process.
We've had a couple people from outside of the States on, and it seems like it just gets more, it sounds more and more like the mafia every time somebody tells a story about it, where they're just like, yeah, so you have to know somebody that can like, is willing to pull some strings for you to like get it through customs. And I'm like, holy fuck, dude. They can't just like sell these things, or you gotta register it based on the size of the motor. You got to get a special license. It's so convoluted everywhere else.
Yeah, like crazy, just like import tariffs and like I don't know, crazy. I don't even know. Yeah, just sales tariffs and like I don't know. They want to put a big sticker on you that says like, "Oh fuck you, this is a big gas guzzling American piece of shit." Like
Yeah, and
that's
we're
how
like,
they like treat
that
it.
is. That's why we're keeping them.
Yeah, exactly.
It's so weird to when you grow up here, you don't think anything of that, and then every other country is like, oh, that's so fuel inefficient, and I'm like, you should see my car though. It's way better than my car.
Yeah, right.
Twice the mileage. I get 40 miles to the gallon, I think, out of my Evo.
Yeah. Wait, what do you have for a truck again, Grease? You have a taco?
I do. That's why I heard you had a Tundra, and I was like, I can't believe this guy didn't trust the Tundra, dude.
Yeah, it'll be good. It'll be good to go soon enough.
And you got
Just
plenty to still go on that, dude. My taco's at 235,000 on it.
no shit.
Still going, yeah. The only thing I've had to do is brakes and oil and the back of the whatever you call the after the can on a car, like I guess the tailpipe. The tailpipe fell off.
And the fucking didn't you do axles or bearings or something too?
Had to do a U joint.
Yeah, you joint.
Yep, I had to do a U joint on that middle one, and then I did the other one too because I had the whole thing out. But for 230,000, dude, I'll take it. It seems like
That's not bad. What year is it?
It's a 2010 Access cab, so it's got the 6-foot bed, but doesn't have the full back seat.
Yeah, yeah, I got the same thing too. You probably have more legroom than I do. Like the first gen Tundras, like the access cab was kind of just stupid. It's like you can't fit like a 5-year-old girl in the back. Not that I've tried. Um, I just have to preface that because I do drive a van and I get the rape van comment all day. So
Yeah, those Gen 1 Tundras look like Gen 2 tacos.
yeah, it's like it's crazy how similar they are in size.
Yeah, it's wild.
But yeah, so I also installed a new frame on that truck because
You mentioned that. That's freaking what happened with that?
so the deal with that was I was a dumbass 20-year-old kid and bought a truck without like fully inspecting the frame. Like I climbed underneath it plenty, but like my my excitement for like owning this truck like just went past like everything my eyes could see. And Yeah, so I forked over like $8,000 for a truck that was worth like 4 at most. Like,
Oh
so
no
the
shit.
end, yeah, so the engine and trans were good to begin with, but the frame had like terrible rot on it, and so Toyota did a recall on all of the Tundra frames from like 99 or 2000 until 2004. And then the 2005 and 2006 first gen Tundras, those were like subject to like a hammer test. So you would bring your truck into Toyota and they would, I don't know, bang on a couple critical spots and see how weakened it was at these points. Um, but that the period for that recall like expired before I even bought my truck. So I wasn't eligible to get a brand new frame like millions of other people were. So I had to go down the hard road of finding a parts truck, stripping the entire thing down, and then taking that frame and swapping it onto my chassis.
Wow, dude, that's
Yeah,
a huge undertaking.
yeah. So that definitely me having to do that, like that's kind of what killed all my progress on the XS 650 build, because I started the XS in April, started working on that, made solid progress until no, I think I really only got to work on that bike for like a month. And then my parts truck came in, and then it was like go, go, go on that. And then it took me like a month and a half um, of working like every other night after work to get that shit done with. So I had to strip apart 2 trucks essentially to get one good frame and then coat the whole frame with this chassis saver stuff and then swap everything back on.
Damn. That is a
Um,
that's a big fucking deal. Loctite would probably know more about all the ins and outs of. I haven't done a ton of truck work in my days, but I can't even fathom how much would go into pulling a whole frame out.
yeah, it was
It's a lot
it
of
was
fucking work.
yeah. Hold on. I could go use the bathroom real quick because I'm drinking too fast here, but I'll
So how did it go overall with the frame swap? Did everything go smooth, or was it kind of a bitch to put it back in?
yeah, everything was smooth for the most part. So I got a 2003 Tundra to swap it. The frames were exactly the same, but there were components that were different on it, such as the gas tank. I think they went up in size in the gas tank, or is just a different shape altogether. But so when I was going into this, having never pulled an engine or a transmission from a vehicle, I was kind of scared shitless about having to do that. So I figured it out that you can accomplish the frame swaps without pulling the engine or the trans from the truck. So it all started with pulling the bed off of it, and then pulling all my wheels off, and then I wheeled it into my garage in between my 2-post lift, and then I jacked the whole frame and chassis up, um, and got those on jack stands, and like also kind of had to jack like the body up, and then connected the arms from my 2-post lift onto the engine mounts. So then I was able to disconnect the lower engine mounts. Or sorry, I connected the arms from the 2-post lift onto like the engine like jacking points. So I was able to hold the weight of the engine up there, disconnect the lower engine mounts, disconnect the rear trans mount, and then jack that up and got that on a jack stand. And then from there, like take apart all of my leaf springs and my struts in the front so that I was able to drop that whole chassis down and then like very carefully push the frame towards the front of the vehicle, clear all of the jack stands. Like I had to like move the jack stands back and forth like so that they were clearing cross members and shit on this frame, and then pushed it all the way to the front, and then took the oxyacetylene torch and then chopped that frame up into bits, hauled it out of my garage, and then prepped the whole new one, and then rolled the new one underneath the truck, and then lifted everything back up the same way I took it apart, pretty much. So yeah, that was I don't know, a crazy process doing that, but very, very glad that I can say I did it. I just really didn't want to get into dealing with all the electronics and disconnecting all of my wiring and my ECM and all of this bullshit just to pull the cab off and swap it that way. So I think it worked out for the best. And I'm just glad that it got done with. Because I needed my truck back on the road for sure.
Yeah, dude, and that is a serious job to be doing as somebody who's not like a mechanic, you know what I mean? Just dabbling in it and swapping a whole frame.
Yeah, pretty much. Like I don't know. I start small, and like I bought this like really shitty like 2007 Jeep Compass. Like everybody please laugh because it is like the worst model car, like second to a Jeep
It's
Patriot.
literally the worst Jeep ever made.
Yeah, yes. like the fakest, like dumbest thing I could have ever bought. And I bought one of those. I started doing some work on that. Eventually got rid of that thing, and then picked up. I drove like a family like Trailblazer for a little bit, did some work on that. And then got this Tundra, and then I really started like throwing some more mechanical work at that thing, like nothing crazy, like, and until this frame swap really had to happen. So you just start small and like start doing little things, replacing power steering pumps and water pumps and belts and I don't know, fans and shit like that, and then you just work into bigger stuff. That's pretty much it. You just got to go at it with confidence and prepare yourself, and you can accomplish anything.
Yeah, that is definitely the motivation right there, because if you can do that full swap like that definitely says quite a bit. We were joking before we kicked the mics back on here about me being annoyed that I had to do fork seals. It's such a small job, and compared to something like that, it's like a drop in the bucket. But just things you haven't had your hands on or had experience with yet can sometimes just like discourage you from getting into them.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like, I don't know, and like the whole reason I got like started and interested in like mechanical work, like, I don't know, you could call it like a series of like poor choices. And like also growing up in like, I don't know, like a middle class family, like my dad's a helicopter pilot. He's like a super knowledgeable guy, and like he knows how to, I don't know, pretty much work on anything. Like I've always kind of had like a, I don't know, engineers type mindset, like growing up, like, oh, it's broken. Like, well, why don't you figure out how to fix it? Like that's all it really comes down to. And like wanting to be able to solve those problems. And that's kind of like carried through to like my work, like these days, like construction management, like it's nothing but solving problems all day and like fucking up the things that, and fixing the things and all the fuck ups that people don't think about when they're like planning it out to begin with. It's just stuff like that.
Yeah, and it happens, you know.
So are you like a project manager?
So that's like what I study at school. But so that's what I do for my internship too. But like so there's a ton of construction management, like really is just like paperwork and emails and Zoom calls and discussions and
Like you're the guy that's like I've done construction firms my whole life.
Mhm.
But like essentially like you're the dude that's like big job comes up, like you're finding who's doing the drywall, who's doing the framing, who's doing the plumbing.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly.
You're
That's
like the
what my
GC
company
pretty
does.
much.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So like the reason that this company is like, I don't know, works so well out here is because we do all of the building and like infrastructure and shit for all the tech companies. Um, so like my company's worked for Apple and Facebook and Google, Tesla headquarters, um, like all these big wig companies out here that all want to have like the most up to date and high tech data centers with all of this bullshit that is so catered to their employees and their staff, and just like everything that's going on with the world. Like everyone just wants to like fine tune and have the best headquarters, because then you can draw in new employees with your super high tech headquarters. It's just like, I don't know. It's all just BS to me. Like it's all just a waste of money. But
Yeah. Did I do like I set up like new accounts and shit. I like pretty much, I don't even know. I guess like manage dumpster company now.
mhm.
And so I like set up all like new accounts and like find the new accounts and have the meetings and blah blah blah. And today I went to a place like exactly what you're saying, dude. Like walk in, I pull up to this place and it's just like this huge fucking building, like looks state of the art on the outside. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like these people do fire, water, and mold damage. How are you balling like this?
Damn.
After I walk in, all the offices on the second floor, I'm meeting with like the CEO of that place. And so I'm like walking by the cubicles. Then here's his office, corner of the building, all glass. Like he just has windows around the entire corner of that building, full glass walls on the outside so you can like see into his office. 2 TVs, 2 fucking laptops, 2 fucking PCs, a couch. And I'm like, what the fuck, bro? Like, how
Just
do I
way
get
more
that
than you need to
job?
work it.
Yeah. Like I thought he was living in there, dude.
Holy shit. But yeah, it's like so many companies like they just want to turn over these headquarters like so quick. Like I don't know, and Boston's the same way. Like I was living in Boston and I go to school in Boston obviously, and like the seaport is just blowing up like crazy. All these high tech companies just moving in, like
Yep.
life sciences and stuff like is like the new up and coming, like
So weird.
yeah, just nothing is the same as it used to be, and everyone just wants to build and dump their money into something. Because I guess you got to have assets, but at the same time, there's so much waste that goes into that. Like one of the projects that I'm on right now, we showed up to like tour this like headquarters, and I think this company was at this spot for like 8 years, and they're like, "Yep, all this furniture, just send it to landfill. Like we don't know what the fuck to do with it. We have a new $10 million budget, and 2 million of that is just furniture. So we don't need all this shit." It's like it's just crazy to think about.
Yeah.
Like where does all that go?
So I'm assuming you do like the larger scale shit.
Like
Like you
it's
wouldn't be doing like a neighborhood per se.
no, like if you I don't know, anybody else who like goes to my school, like you can go down that avenue and you can work for companies that like
I feel like that'd be easier to get that kind of job, yeah. And like
yeah, definitely.
become like a product manager on like commercial shit. Cause I feel like those dudes are like already there.
Yeah, well, like so I spent like I don't know, year and a half, 2 years like working in residential construction. And my town is like one of those towns that gets like they've been pumping billions of dollars into my town to renovate that spot. And like tons of new housing complexes and just like retirement communities and shit like popping up left and right. And
Oh
that's
yeah,
the stuff that I
it's a
hate too.
crazy like new build era right now.
Yeah, well, because I'm like, I kind of hate it because I'm like, damn, they're really fucking up my hometown. Like this place used to be beautiful.
Yeah.
So I kind
So
of I don't fuck with like that
yeah.
so much. So yeah,
Yeah,
I'll
just fuck the
work
cities up. They're already fucked up.
Yeah, exactly.
More shit.
Yeah. Dude, it's funny.
Yeah.
The town I live in now, when I used to come up here like visit my grandma when I was a kid, and it was literally just like one store on the 4 corners in this town. And now it's just like it looks like Salem, New Hampshire, dude. It's fucking insane. And like they still just like you drive down 125 and it's just like all the woods are gone. It's just all lotted out for commercial and residential now.
Yeah, it's scary stuff. That's what I love seeing like old time pictures of like buildings and like neighborhoods and corners and shit in like the 50s and 60s.
Yeah.
And then like you can look at that same scene today and you're like, where the fuck did it all go?
Yeah.
Um and I mean some corners stay the same and it'll be the same mom and pop shop that's gone through like 20 different owners in the last 20 years, but it's like it's crazy seeing how much America has changed. And
What was it
especially
like driving through some of the like the middle of the country places, do you feel like it's different even through there, or are they still desolate?
Yeah, you're 100% right. There are tons of towns that are still desolate and still barren and like America, like cool America. Not all this like new bullshit popping up. So like obviously like all the cities, all the major cities that you pass through, like that's where these states and these developers are all dumping their money into like what has the highest population. Like we'll just drive up the fucking real estate prices through the roof here. But like yeah, there's so many towns that are out there that like still like are untouched and have never even been like considered like real estate that you would want to develop. So like that hotel I spent overnight at in like Abilene, Texas or Seminole, wherever it was, like just when I was walking from that hotel to O'Reilly's to like go grab a new battery, like dude, my jaw dropped like probably like 20, 30 times just seeing all these cool old cars and old motor shops and just so much random shit that you just don't see because see, it's like back in New England, like we don't have anything. We don't have any cool old shit unless you're going to a car show. Everything else is buried in someone's garage. So
Right.
like there's so much cool shit that I've seen out here, like an old like 60s like Ford Econoline van, like with windows all the way around it, like just the tiniest bit of original paint, like all patina, like just so much cool stuff. There's one guy at his shop. He had like four like El Caminos that were like half junkers, like half nice, like all just hanging out in the back. I'm like, this is just fucking sick. This is like a trash picker's dream, and I love collecting shit. So
He's like, I'm gonna pick through all of it.
yeah, um,
That's rad though, man. It's cool to see that not every place has already been built into a million fucking apartment complexes. We're actually having that problem in New Hampshire, come to think of it. Is like I feel like they're just building everybody left Mass and came up here and they keep talking about
Ruined
this
it.
housing shortage. I'm like, where, dude? Like it just came out of nowhere. All of a sudden they're like, there's just not enough houses in New Hampshire. I'm like, no, I think there's just a lot more people now trying to come here. I think that the houses are the same they've always been, but now everything is a condo.
yeah, 100%. I mean, me being the age that I am and like getting ready to graduate college like within the next year, I'm like, dude, I don't want to fucking pay for mass housing. I'm like, this sucks.
Yeah, mass housing is particularly fucking expensive.
It's like, I don't know. And I look all over the place. Like my ex, like she goes to school in Rhode Island. And so like that was kind of like a considerable place to move as well. And I'm like, dude, what you can get in Rhode Island for like $300,000 is like an acre and like a beautiful like 30,000 like square foot like house. Like in Massachusetts, like that's like a shack. Like you're not getting anything for 300,000. You can get like an abandoned lot with like a one-story shithole. Like
It's crazy, huh?
yeah.
My little brother actually looked in Rhode Island too when he was looking to move. He ended up moving to CT, but he was looking in Rhode Island for a while. And Rhode Island is wild. It's like I almost can't believe Rhode Island's a state because it's so small that it could be a town, I feel like, but they just got their own little border right down there. And to your point, the property value down there, you just get way more. Get way more for way less.
Yeah, we should probably stop talking about it before everyone buys up all the real estate there. Um
Yeah, it's really expensive in Rhode Island. Don't look there.
yeah. Yeah. Shout out to Burks V Twins. Um I love those guys over there. My ex, she lived in the town next to where they're at. So yeah, shout out to Junior and Cam. Um
No, that's cool though. And I'm actually looking forward to hearing about this trip back when you do come. You said it'll be closer to May, right?
yeah, it'll be in May for sure. I'm like still torn about it because I really want to drive back and get a whole nother like week of cool experiences. and road tripping. But at the same time, like I think it honestly would be cheaper to ship my van. I got like a quote for it the other day. It's like between like 12 and $1,300 to ship it back. Um,
Oh wow, it's almost less than it would cost to drive it back.
yeah, so like I could pay $1,300 and have it shipped, and I can fly back in 6 hours. Um, and I'll probably be in the hole like $1,500 total versus $1,300 in gas, probably another 100 or two in like miscellaneous expenses and food and shit. And then that's like 8 days off of work as well. So you got to think about the opportunity in it.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, 8 days on the road is like, I don't know, it's a lot. It definitely kicks your ass. And I think I could probably do it in 4 to 5, like going back. But then at that point, it's like, what's the point of even road tripping when you're not really seeing that much shit? Like, I forget who it was. Someone said you really need like to set aside a month of time to set aside, like if you want to like tour around and like see all the big hot spots in like throughout the country. Like I didn't even go to the Grand Canyon because they were getting snow when I was passing through that part of Arizona. So I was like, fuck,
Wow.
this kind of sucks. Like,
I didn't even know that happened.
yeah, they get snow in the winter because I mean it's just such a crazy like elevation change. Um, like when I left Dallas, Texas, and made it to Alamo Gordo, New Mexico, I had climbed like 9,000 feet in elevation that day in the old Chevy 350
Oh
somehow.
shit.
Um,
I guess it could snow then. Yeah.
like I started that morning in Texas, like woke up sweating. It was like 70 degrees. And then by like nighttime, I was driving through this town and there was like snow on the top of this mountain and like kids sledding. I was like, what the fuck? Where am I? Like, and it was so cold to the point where I was like worried about the roads like freezing over as I was coming down it.
It's just so crazy.
Damn.
Like Locked, I don't know how far you've traveled here either, but I've spent most of my life in New England, like with the exception of like maybe a week here, a week there. Um, but sometimes I hear these stories and I just didn't even realize that parts of the country had the kind of weather that they have. Like I didn't even realize it would ever snow at the Grand Canyon. Didn't even know that was possible.
Yeah, it's definitely surprising.
I've never been out that way. I've been up and down the East Coast a bunch, like from here to Florida a bunch. Always driving, and I've driven out to California one. Well, I didn't drive. I was young and went with my father.
Yeah, I spent 1 week in Cali. I started up at the top and we were on like a bus where like the bus would drop you off in a different place every day for a week. And we just made our way from San Fran all the way down to LA. And you didn't really get a ton of time at each place. But I will say, from the top to the bottom of Cali, you were like, these should be different states, dude. This is like a totally different climate. There's like the people were different. It was a trip for sure.
Dude, that's what like caught me off guard too was I have another buddy who's from my hometown who lives north of San Francisco. And when I'd like first landed out here in like San Jose, he hit me up and was like, "Oh yeah, I live in so and so." And I was like looking at it on the maps. I'm like, "Dude, that's still another fucking 6 hours away from me." I'm like, "How is that even remotely possible?" Like,
Right?
because I mean, you can go from Eastern Mass to like Buffalo, New York in like 6 hours or some shit. Like Massachusetts is so tiny compared to California. It's like insane.
Yeah, there's a part of New Hampshire that me and my wife keep meaning to go to that's like 2 hours north of here. And I'm like, that's forever away. I don't know when we're ever
Seriously.
going to get up there. But then you think of these other places and that's just the next living person is that far away. And some of these like huge, all the states that look like big squares. I'm like, dude, I bet there's nothing except for like the city.
Yeah, cities and like deserted, like I don't know, outside parts. It's like It's really cool though at the same time, like driving through them, like it just seems so peaceful here. Um,
What a cool opportunity too, just to be able to take the time to go do that trip, have all those stories along the way, work this job. So it's not like you took the whole thing and it was like you've just had to eat up your whole savings. It's like you actually get to work while you're out there. So super cool that you got to make it happen. And we got to do this again when if you end up driving back or just when you get back in general, you should come back on.
yeah, I'm so torn because I have two buddies who like just moved out to Colorado too. So, and then I have like two other buddies there besides that. I have my sister in like Missouri and shit. So like I know like I have destinations on the way to like stop at for sure. Plus whatever other shows there are going on out here. Like I won't be here late enough for like People's Champ or like Sturgis or anything. But what actually like lines up nicely is Back Road Barbecue Run.
Yep, in North Carolina.
Yeah, that's like what, first or second week of April, I think. So I could definitely hit that on my way back and then drive another day or two up to Boston and then like start school a couple days later. Um,
That would be rad.
so yeah, definitely thinking about that. But like besides all that business, yeah, me and Shovel Sam have like hung out a couple times. He lives like 20 to 30 minutes away from me, depending on the time of day. And yeah, so he's got a cool spot, nice little parking garage. They keeps his Mazda and the shovel in. So we hung out and just like shot the shit, told all the same stories and talked for a little bit. And then 2 weekends ago, we went up to the NorCal cycle swap. And me and him actually spent the night in the van. So you can get the scoop on that from him. But that was a good time.
That's awesome, dude. Oh yeah, I think you got one of you guys texted us that night. Probably Sam.
Yeah, probably him. But yeah, we drove up that night, loaded his shovel into the back. He was like considering like selling it if he could get a right offer. But yeah, loaded that thing in the back, and then we drove up and hit like a little pre-party that was up there at just some dive bar, and then drove down to the swap meet, hung out in the parking lot that night, and then I gave Sam the bed and I swung around in the captain's chair and laid back and crashed there.
Go, dude. That's awesome. Sleeps too.
Mhm.
That's rad.
Yeah.
Though. Oh, that's right, because he was looking for a pan. So he's getting rid of the shovel or trying to get rid of the shovel.
Yeah, I mean, definitely not like trying that hard. He really does want a pan, like you said. But he's not like super eager to get rid of the bike, I guess. Like if a pan came up for a right deal, I think he would definitely jump on it in a heartbeat.
That's
But
cool.
yeah, he kind of just brought it up to, I don't know. We thought that there was going to be a little bit more of like a bike show the night before, but it really just turned out to be like 4 or 5 vans outside this dive bar, all just like hanging out and shooting the shit out there. Saw some cool lifted 4x4, like it was like a '76 Chevy G10. That thing was wicked rad. Um, yeah, me out here with my fucking 1994. It's just like the newest thing, like on the road. Like everyone's
Right.
got like old like '70s and '60s shit, and I'm like, dude,
Got my Evo.
I'm not on that level yet.
That's it, dude. It'll get there though.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
It's-
everything's just so cool out here. It's like a fucking museum on every other corner. Like just driving around, like I just love old beat up crap. Like even like old like 80s and 90s like Toyota trucks. Like Toyota made a dually at one point back in the day. Like late 80s, early 90s. They had a dually pickup truck. And I was like, this is just fucking sick. I've seen a couple of them out here. Um,
I've never seen that. That's wild.
yeah. Just so much old ratty stuff. And I'm like, I love this. I hate new vehicles and it's just boring. Like, give me something that catches my eye.
Yeah, when people had style and things that they made. And they were simple and easy to
Definitely.
work on. That's what it's all about.
Definitely. But yeah, that's pretty much that. I've got I was gonna ride down to Chopper Fest last weekend. I had that on my mind, but it's like a 5 hour drive, and for an event that was only Sunday afternoon. Like I could have gone down for the pre-party and shit, but by the time the show's over, then I'd be getting back up here at like probably 9 or 10 o'clock, and I'm like, yeah, fuck that. It's not really worth it. Um, and then I met I don't know how closely you guys were following like Bill Well People's Champ this year. But there was actually one bike builder who's from San Jose. Shout out Nick Alvaro. Um, he was doing like a wicked cool like swing arm, uh, swing arm like British style shovel head, I think. But so I met him at the cycle swap. I'm going on a ride with him like early March and like it's like a ride out and like camp event. So I'm looking forward to that next month. Um, but besides that, I'm just planning on riding down to Santa Cruz a whole bunch and checking it out down there. That's like a nice like hour long ride. There's Route 17, which is like super windy and crazy, but I'm ready to do it once the roads are dry on the weekend.
Yeah, dude, that'd be rad. It's cool that you're meeting some people out there too.
Yeah, I've definitely met some cool heads. Like not too many like bikers like in my area. Like it's really like sad and surprising like how few bikers there are on the road. Like there's a ton of dual sports out here and a ton of like I don't know rice rockets and bullshit. But really haven't seen too many other like chopper guys. Like they're definitely scattered about. But
Yeah,
Santa
that's
Cruz,
like one of those interesting things that I always wondered why. Like you'd think that there'd be all over the place, but maybe it's just because the state's so big that they're just spread out.
yeah, they're hiding for sure. Like Sacramento definitely has a lot more chopper culture than like this area. Um, but like just like an hour north of me in San Francisco, you got Mazimoto. I don't know if you guys know him on Instagram and like YouTube
I
at
think I heard
nine.
about him on Lane Split's channel.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, and then Lane Split. He's in San Jose too.
Oh shit. Okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
I've
so
seen a bunch of his ride along videos, and it definitely looks like a fun area.
yeah, we actually me and Sam actually met him at that cycle swap as well. Because me and Sam, we were both new to the area, so I kind of reached out to Lane Split, seeing if he could potentially like store my bike for me if I shipped it across country. I never heard back from him though, and then Sam just like hit him up to ride. So I don't know if those guys have been talking, but yeah, he's a great bike builder. He does really cool work for sure. Um,
He's got the shovel going too.
yeah, definitely. Oh, that thing looks awesome. Yeah, I actually saw him walking around with those emblems uh that he just put onto that tank.
Oh yeah, yeah, the metal ones, dude. I'm actually looking for a set of those too. I gotta track some of those down.
Oh, really? I'll keep my eye out because that's the other part of like me wanting to ship the van back home. If I can like spend a bunch of money and like come home with a whole bunch of chopper goodies, like I'll literally just pack the van to the brim and get that thing on a freight truck and have it shipped cross country and come home with a whole bunch of cool shit.
There you go, man. A lot of cool shit out there.
Yeah, for sure.
Good shit, dude. Well, man, this is fucking awesome. I really appreciate you taking the time to jump on with us while you're in the middle of doing all this other stuff. Give us the rundown of the story. And by the time you get back, there's going to be more stories too. So we definitely got to have you back on in the very near future when you come back I almost said stateside. When we come back to the East Coast. Maybe we could do it in
Yeah.
person too. That'd be cool.
Yeah, dude, for sure. So like I know as soon as I get back home, I'm throwing the XS in the back of my van and I'm driving that thing up to Steve's to Fat Man's so that he can wire that thing up for me because I've had it running plenty of times I've never had the timing just right. But I just switched back from like electronic ignition to points.
Hell yeah.
And yeah, and so kind of based on what you said. Plus, I was like, I really don't want to buy another $100 electronic ignition after I like fried the last one.
Yep.
So, but yeah, my problem I'm having right now is like however way I wired it, I'm getting power to both points at all given times. So I don't know what the fucking deal is with it, but
What do you
Steve's
mean
gonna
both points?
like, so when I'm turning the engine over on the XS, I have power going to both cylinders at like all times. So it's not when the lobe turns over on the cam lobe and opens it up, like I'm getting power to both sides of the points at both times, at all times. I'm probably explaining this terribly.
Yeah, I think I'm not necessarily that you're explaining it terribly. Maybe I'm just not able to wrap my head around what you're saying. But I know that like it fires like a jackhammer, and there should be like both cylinders move at the same time, but maybe you have a dual fire coil on there, and it needs to have a single fire coil. But Steve would know. Steve would know better than I would know at this point because I'm not huge on the wiring stuff. But I did have mechanical advance on mine, but I had the PMA on there, so that was a little bit different.
Yeah, I don't have a PMA going on it. And mine has mechanical advance as well. But I don't know, is what it is. I had it firing with the electronic ignition, but now it's not liking it with the points, and it's been so long since I like really was like working hard on that thing. But yeah, I just need to have it wired up and then I can start shaking down all the problems.
Good deal, man. Well, when you get back and you dive into it, definitely let us know, and we swing over and come work on it with you too.
Yeah, for sure. I'm jealous all you guys have been fucking hanging working on everyone's bikes up there.
Yeah, it's been
Seeing
a
all the posts.
bunch
Yeah,
of
Dan's is coming along good.
Yeah, Dan and Rhino are fucking slamming through those builds. They are getting so much stuff done. I'm over here like not wanting to take my forks apart, and they're just like doing everything under the sun. So we had a good shop night at Dan's not that long ago.
Nice, dude. And then Frenchie's got his build going on. Is that still at your place?
That's still at my place. Yep, I actually just had to move the motor off the lift to jack my bike up on that lift, and I think that one's going to end up. That motor he's got at my place, I think, it's going to take a back seat, and the other motor is going to go in the hardtail frame. Found some issues with that motor that weren't aware of when we were taking it apart, and then it seems like that might need a top end.
Oh shit, really?
Or maybe even to have a look through the bottom end, which would be even worse, but we'll see. But for the time being, 5 speeds going into the hardtail frame for him, and then we'll get that thing thrown back together.
Nice.
And
is he building an Evo? Is that what it is?
It's an Evo Sportster 5-speed in a hardtail frame.
Tight.
Yep. And he was gonna run the 4-speed, but that's the one that's got some of the issues on it. And I don't even know, he might still be planning to like dive into that thing and rip it apart and put that one in. But last I checked, I'm pretty sure he's going to run the 5-speed at least this coming season.
Nice.
So, dude, progress on all fronts.
And how's yours going, Loctite?
It's not.
Still looking for what's it called? Rear master cylinder, right?
No, I got it all figured out. Stepchild's good to go.
Nice. Oh yeah, you're just trying to get that thing back on the road for this season.
Yeah. Yep.
Put that fucker in there, and yeah, we'll all be back up on 2 wheels. Should be good to go. I got the new points thrown in mine. She's running good again, and I just got to make the pipes, drop the forks, make the pipes, give the tins to Dan, and probably while I'm gone for the whole month of April, I'll just leave the tins with him, and he'll have a whole month to just knock those out and then reassemble.
Yeah, I was just about to say, are you gonna get that thing painted this year?
Oh, I know. I'm gonna start a YouTube channel at the least opportune time, and then not want to have the bike apart because I need it there for videos.
Yeah.
That really did not coincide well with getting that bike torn apart. So that frame's the motor in the trans and all that. That's not even going to leave that frame. Those tins are going to get painted. That frame is going to get touched up, and she's going back on the road for another season of hacking.
Hell yeah.
It's the way it's got to be, man.
Well, I mean, even if you pull your shit apart, like, I feel like you could always do. I know, like, these last two videos have been very, like, I don't know, strict to like one point, like, oh, teaching you about this, teaching you about that. But like, you could always do like videos just like of the shop hangs and shit, and just like tinkering with everyone's
That's true.
bike. So
Yeah, that's a good point, because it doesn't always have to be all that. Like the next one is going to be the pipes, and it's like you really don't need the tins on to make the pipes. You could do that without having.
definitely, yeah, you're gonna do a nice pie cut video.
Yeah, do a little as much as I can. I don't have like the capacity to get all these cool arc shots that some of these really good welding channels do, but just to show people like how you would go about building a set. And as far as like the welding techniques, people are gonna have to bring that on their own, but I'll show you how to lay it out.
Yeah, definitely. Because I mean, like for me myself, like when I did a full exhaust for the XS, and I was like, dude, how am I supposed to figure this shit out? Like, obviously, it's like kind of common sense. Like, yeah, you got to cut some pies and make it happen and just eyeball it and piece it together. But at the same time, I was like, this shit's definitely a bit of a challenge. So,
It's tricky to, depending on how complex you're trying to go with it. I definitely recommend people buy the pie cuts, because it's easier to just know you're working with good proper cuts, and then from there you're building them like, piece by piece, maybe 2-3 pieces at a time, trying to get the angle to go where you want. But the actual welding of them is not that hard. It's like just time consuming, depending on how many cuts you got pumped in there.
yeah, which is like everything you just described is like the opposite of what I did. I had like the most like jagged, like angle grinder cut fucking pies and got it. I mean, it came out all right, but just to say the least, like the exhaust is definitely going to live wrapped its whole entire life, because you would not want to see it unwrapped.
It's one of those things that like there's a fine line between, because like if you fabricate stuff, people always love to say to you like, why don't you build it? Why don't you just build that? Why don't you just make that? Why don't you just make the pie cuts? And it's you have to find that line where like it isn't in your time interest or your fabrication interest to do everything. So for me, it's like I'd rather make those welds perfect, get a really good back purge on it, and do an awesome job welding those things up to look like to look
Just
presentable.
presentable, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But when it comes to making the cuts, I don't have like the precision kind of saw for it, and I know that people can find a way, but like I just know myself, it would take me 2 days to like do them all properly and make sure I got them cut, and they cost like $15 for a 5-pack. So I'm like, I'm just gonna buy that because it's so easy. And then they come and they're clean and you assemble them. I got spoiled at that stainless job where you just fucking got all these nice pieces that you unwrap, and they're like, you have to weld it perfect. We'll give you all the pieces. And now I'm like, I'm still in that zone of like, give me the pieces and then I'll make it nice.
Got you. What, we just lose Loctite?
We did, yeah. I think so. Tonight's his he had to run. I said we kind of bumping up against the time constraint here, so he probably had to roll out. But dude, like I said, this was awesome. Definitely want to get you back on once you come back over here. Maybe we could even do one in the garage, we all sit down, if you got the excess around, we could tinker on that thing. It'd be a fun live episode.
Yeah, definitely. We'll even I don't know, it could be one of your YouTube videos or some bullshit.
Definitely should bring the camera.
Bring something out.
But for the meantime, to close this one out, I will say from Mass to Cali, Parker's been on the road, but with a new windshield and a battery, he's living the van life goals.